Good evening. My name is Ray Dwyer, and this is Dr. Joe Dispenza's Meditation and Book Discussion Group. We're talking about You Are the Placebo, Chapter 8, The Quantum Mind. Now, I think that's kind of an odd subject to sit here and learn to meditate, and we're going to do some deep dive in some of the most advanced meditation of our age, the quantum mind. It's vital that you understand the true nature of reality, how mind and matter are related, and how reality can shift. Because if you don't know how and why those shifts occur, you won't be able to direct any outcomes according to your intentions. Expectations is part of what this is about, to let you know that things are not as fixed as they appear to be. And that was a big deal for me because I thought things were pretty solid. Go beat your head on the wall and see if it doesn't hurt. Things are pretty solid. But that's all just sense to sense. Thanks to René Descartes and Sir Isaac Newton, for centuries the study of the universe was divided into two categories: mind and matter. And I think the book is wrong on that statement. I mean, it's like, Ray, you just said Dr. Joe is wrong. No, I think he was being polite in what he said, but I don't need to be polite. I don't think it was because of them that it's divided between matter and mind. I think it's because of the Christian church that ruled Europe and most of Western society, and they wanted to control the subject. And the idea that everything could be defined in science, they would have burned them at the stake, ostracized them, removed them they wouldn't even be able to go to the grocery store. The church back then was brutal in its enforcement. And so that setback in science was all about the church. Remember the Resonance when Michael Leonardo da Vinci was the science of the day. Galileo was threatened to be burned at the stake. The church was killing people in the most horrible way for advancing science without their approval on it. So our science, where we are now, is probably 500 or 1,000 years behind what it should have been if the church wasn't what it is even today. Newtonian physics, called classical physics, deals with the mechanism of how objects move in space and time. But dividing things between matter and mind, does that mean Newton was wrong? Oh no, his science is absolutely accurate. That's how come we can launch a rocket and pick a spot on the moon and land it on the moon in that spot. And absolutely crazy technology. Do you know the modern phone has more computer power in it than the ships that landed on the moon back in the 60s and 70s? It's crazy. Those guys did it by the seat of the pants almost. It was absolutely the minimum computation power they used to control that ship and get them to the moon and back. Phenomenal courage to do that. I mean, we've got supercomputers now with just crazy computing power for calculations and getting it right. So their calculations are very, very accurate, Newtonian physics is. But it doesn't have all the answers. And that's what we're talking about. The atoms, they tell us, appear to be 99.9 to the 13th power percentage of information. In other words, there is a point somewhere in that atom that could be called matter, which it isn't, but it could be. It's the densest point of energy. Everything else is just a field. And just think of that. That's what you were made out of. So 99.9 to the 13th of you is empty space. Well, not empty space, information space. And this conversation even gets stranger as we go through this. In fact, on the subatomic quantum level, matter is a momentary phenomenon. It's here one moment and then it disappears, existing only as a tendency. Now, that's what you're made out of. You're blinking on and off. Most of the time, you're off. You go, wait a minute. Everything is doing everything looks solid to me. It ain't blinking in my eyes. That's because your eyes have a frequency it sees in. It doesn't see. It blinks on and off at such a speed it can't see that. And yet this is not woo-woo. This is hard science. We are not here as much as we're here. You ever talk to, oh, you're not with me today. Yeah, I must be in the quantum blinking off. I'm sorry. I'll see if I can get together. Yeah, that's a reality. And that's all of the universe is blinking on and off at a very high rate. We are mostly, vastly, mostly just fields of force. The reason why they're here and gone is that all of these particles actually exist simultaneously in an infinite array of possibilities or probabilities within the invisible infinite quantum field of energy. Now, why do we care about that as we sit and try to learn meditation? Because we're trying to tap into this resource. Dr. Joe constantly talks about tapping into the infinite potential. Guess what? That's the quantum field. We are not this limited human being that we know. We are actually points of the creation that we have lost the wisdom of how to do it. And the first thing is to learn that first step of the placebo, expectation. And that expectation says, you can do this. Why can you do this? Because everything is just in the field of infinite potential, and you can point to it. And when we're no longer paying attention to it, it vanishes going back. Another way to look at this, in a tiny world of quantum, the subjective mind has an effect on the objective reality. Your mind can become matter, that is, you can make mind matter. Your mind has an effect on the reality of matter. That is science. Sometimes it's hard to accept as we're struggling to get our bills paid and we're struggling to heal some really scary disease. That how can I make this go away? I'm sitting here trying to make it away. It's not that you can't. It's that you simply haven't developed the skill to do it. First step in the placebo is expectation. You've got to learn that you can honestly, seriously sit down and expect to affect the infinite potential. Then, in a strange sense, we, along with everything else in the world, are also doing the disappearing act. Then, in the same way, so do we. Okay, and then it keeps saying we in this paragraph. Okay. In other words, if you can imagine a particular future event that you want to experience in life, that reality already exists in the possibility somewhere in the quantum field beyond this space and time, just waiting for you to observe it. This is talking about the observer effect. So according to this, the observer effect, physical matter can't exist or manifest until we observe it. According to this, your future self cannot exist until you observe it into reality. What I want you to get out of this absolutely crazy pages is the expectation that all you have to do, like I'm saying, oh, it's easy, just go do this. This is the wildest meditation lesson you're ever going to have. Once you learn the observer effect, you now know that this is not woo-woo, this is not mysticism, this isn't some religious guy sitting on the pillow going, oh, this is quantum physics. When you learn to observe it at the right level of observation, you can create matter from mind. That's not woo-woo, that's hard physics. Absolutely mind-blowing couple of pages. Just waiting. It says it's just out of the infinite potential. It's just waiting for you to observe it, for it to come into reality. And in that observation, as you meditate to observe it, you build the confidence that, oh, there it is. And you build the expectation because you know that if I can see it that clearly, where my body experiences the seeing of it, you have satisfied the first requirement of the placebo, and that's an expectation because you know, according to the laws of physics, quantum physics, the act of clearly observing it is a creative force. From a quantum perspective, if you observed yourself in a particular new future that was different from your past, expected that reality to occur, and then emotionally embrace it, the outcome, you'd for a moment living in that future reality, and you'd be conditioning your body to believe it. I am really messed that up. But what it says is that once you observe it, you get that expectation and you emotionally tie yourself to that expectation. You condition yourself, you expect yourself. It gives us permission to choose a new future and observe it into reality. What a crazy statement these paragraphs are. This is quantum science. Nobody sitting on a pillow is saying this. These are scientists in coat and ties sitting in a lab somewhere doing quantum physics. Sunita, I'll be with you in just a minute. However, this also means that you create by default as well. In other words, first of all, you're doing this all the time. What do you mean by default? If you, as a quantum observer, look at your life from the same level of mind every day, then according to the quantum model of reality, you're causing your personal life. Dr. Joe says your personality is what's creating your personal reality. This is what he was talking about. You are already rehearsing your future by rehearsing your past, and you're making today that again and again. According to the quantum model of reality, you're causing infinite possibilities to collapse into the patterns of information day in and day out. That is your day when your personality is rehearsing your future. As you think about your future, what are you going to do tomorrow? And you draw it to you according to what you've learned from your past. When you change that story, when you change your personality, your personal reality changes. And this is the why. So the mental rehearsal, remember it talks about seeing your future? The mental rehearsal I talked about earlier is certainly not idle daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is a very real sense the way you can intentionally manifest your desired reality. Do you see the science behind that now? This is either the most boring meditation class or the most foundational one, because here is the quantum physics science of Dr. Joe's statement. Your personality builds your personal reality. The placebo effect is not fantasy then, it's quantum reality. Wow. And another statement he likes to say, who are you practicing being today? Wow. Do a little metacognition and review you. Who are you practicing being today? Are you practicing being a little potato head sitting on on the couch watching television? Are you practicing being a grump head, grumpy? Or are you practicing giving smiles to people that you don't know just for the joy of watching them smile back at you? And then growing in that so it becomes part of you. Think of atoms as vibrating fields of energy or small vortexes that are constantly spinning. Oh, I was going to talk to Sunita after I made that point. Sunita, thank you for waiting. Did you still want to talk to me?
Oh, yes. Uh, Number one, can you give any small example from your own experience of where you've observed something into being? And second, what happens when you struggle with, uh, you come across a situation where you have seen something or observed it in your meditation, but when reality draws in, it's so easy to collapse back into the old
Boy,
ways.
yeah, you were doing real good till you got that second one. It's like, oh, talking about a reality check. Yeah, it's easy to fall in. First of all, why is it easy? Because we've rehearsed it 1,000 times already. Okay, but let's go to the first one because that one made me smile. It's like, okay, since somebody asked me, I get to talk about me. 2018, March of 2018, I started doing Dr. Joe's work. I've been getting cut on for advanced stage melanoma cancer for 8 years. I think and I was scheduled for another surgery and they were putting it off for one reason or another. So I had my sixth or seventh surgery that they were building up for. That's for melanoma. On top of that, I had a few, this is all skin cancer stuff. Then on top of that, I had some squamous cells that were deep that they had to do cuts to get out. And on top of that, I had many, many basal cells of cancer that needed to be treated. So I started Dr. Joe, and that first year, at the completion of that year, I learned surrender and worthiness. That is the key beacons of light that I got out of breaking the habit of being yourself. I changed myself, what I saw of myself. And I got up off the floor and melanoma cancer ended. 2 weeks after that big meditation, I went into surgery. It just happened to be scheduled that way. And they cut my arm open to take out the tumors, and they woke me up and said, "Ray, what happened?" "What do you mean, what happened? I mean, I'm in a chair. I didn't do anything. I'm an old married guy. It wasn't me." And he said, "Why, what? Here's your pocket of cancer. It's all dead. Everything had died a short time ago." So they just scraped it up and sewed it together and went on their way. I told you that because September, that was in March, September of 2019, was the 10th anniversary of my diagnosis. And it was the first time that I had gone through a body scan and I had no skin cancer. And yeah, I'm celebrating like crazy. I figured it out. I can do this. December of that year, 4 or 5 months later, I went in for colonoscopy. Okay, you guys are all grown up. You know what you get old, you got to do things like that. And they woke me up and showed me I had tumors in my lower colon. And I went home and cried. I thought I was free of cancer, and instead, now I've got colon cancer. Not maybe, I've got it. I saw it. I mean, just they had a camera in me and said, "Ray, look at this." I went, "Holy hell, I don't." You don't have to be a doctor to know what you're looking at when you got a camera right there. And then the VA gave me MRIs and biopsy, and It was confirmed it was cancer in my lower colon, and they planned to cut out the lower part of my colon. And the surgery was put off because of COVID for a few more months, and the surgery was planned for June. I was crying. I cried for a few weeks. I mean, I'd sit down here and cry. I thought I had conquered cancer, and it was less than a year, and I got cancer again. Serious. They're going to take out part of me. And I cried and cried. I did. I just, every time I sat down to meditate and turn my heart up, all I could see is the surgery. And then my teacher came to me, figuratively speaking. No, not figuratively. My teacher came to me and said, Ray, what? Didn't you learn anything? What do you mean, didn't I learn? I'm having this conversation with my angel. What do you mean I didn't? Did I learn? Did you learn anything? Yeah. What? What do you mean, what? What did you learn? That the body heals. Okay. You mean, okay. Tell me something. Then he says, show me what you learned. You ever have a guy getting in your face and he goes, show me? My teacher is a guy, by the way. He's probably me and my future self getting back at me, trying to get me off my defeatism sometimes. And he says, show me. What do you mean, show you? Show me what you learned. I went, okay, I'll show you. I did. It was a funny conversation, but I was just kind of like, tell me, I'll show you. And so the vision cleared, my mind cleared, and I went, oh man, what did I just say? And so I got out and I reviewed the lesson. My mind says, okay, it's in the placebo book. And I studied the placebo book. And the four elements of the placebo book: expectation, one; meaning, two; repetition, three; and heart, heart, heart. Your body should sing when it reviews the image. So I started, first thing for expectations is knowledge. I went back and reviewed Dr. Joe's teaching. I'm telling you, this is my story. I went back and reviewed Dr. Joe's experience in the hospital, what he learned. He's a back doctor. He knows that back, and still, first thing he did was study the back and his injury. I figured if he needs to restudy, I do. So I started learning everything a layman can learn about the colon. I could talk about the shape of it, the three layers of the bacilli, that 90-degree turn. I used to know the name of it, the valve right at the beginning of it, all that plays a part. And I learned, and I said, okay, I know what it is and why it is. What's next? Meaning. Meaning. I mean, this processes the body. No, that's not the meaning. That's stuff. That's knowledge. Meaning. Meaning of what? The meaning of the energy as it goes through you. What does that mean to you when divine energy comes into you and affects your body? See, people ask the wrong question about meaning. They think they need a book definition, like the look in the Webster dictionary or something, and find the meaning of what we're talking about. No. No body, no place, no time. This meaning is not of this world. This meaning is of the heart. What would be the meaning if I could tune in to my body and heal my body of cancer? What would that mean to me? Oh my goodness. And I started lighting up. So now I got meaning and repetition, but I was still missing something else. That absolutely physical reaction of joy. And I started looking at how do I make my body happy about looking at my colon? Get over that, right? I mean, just it's not exactly something you think of and go yay about. I'm going to go visit my colon today for a little while. Yeah, right. So I had to create a story that made my body respond. Well, earlier in that year, I was doing some detox work with meditations, and I got a story of me as a boy playing with sparklers. You know, kids like to play with sparklers, when they're about 6, 8 years old. Yeah, and they're pretty and they sparkle and everything. And they run around the yard at night and sparkle. Well, I got this funny idea because the sparkle was the meaning of the sparkles was that every time I saw a sparkle in my mind, it burned out toxins in my body. That's it. That was one of my meditations. That was probably my first placebo, was sparklers and going into meditations and running sparklers through me to clean out, to burn out the toxins that are causing the cancer. Well, I got this idea. Well, what if I became that little boy and I took sparklers through my colon? And I went, oh no, you can't tell anybody about this. This is okay. This is what your teacher did. I did. I got an image in me. I mean, I can get graphic when I get turned on. I got this image of me when, as a little boy, and I'm on a water slide of my colon. Some of you have been to these big water parks and you go in that tunnel water slide. I went into the big water slide of my colon and I've got these sparklers that light up. I go like this. In my mind, I'd sit on that valve at the top of the colon and I'd go like this, and the sparklers would come in my hand and light up, and I'd kick off and I'd go through my colon and I'd go, whee! And as I went through, those sparklers would just burn the toxins off my colon. And I'd go all the way through my colon, just sparkling and burning my colon with sparklers. And I just think that is the funniest meditation. Well, it is. That was what, 6, 7 years ago, and I still think it's the goofiest meditation I've ever heard in my life. And I'd go, whee! Heart. I had the knowledge. I knew exactly what I was after. I was after a reaction that converted a colon that had clear points of cancer in them. And cancers are based on a toxin that's got in there that's distorted the cells. Knowledge, message. Oh, if I could learn how to do that, my message would be so clear. I would know that I can tune in to the kingdom and the kingdom would hear me. That's the meaning of it. And the repetition. How long did it just take me to tell you my little meditation? I could be going through my day and have just a minute, look around and go, and I would just be that little boy for just a minute with sparkling. I had no reason to think this would work. I've never done. I didn't have a teacher back then. I didn't have anybody encouraging me except my teacher says, show me. And Dr. Joe's Burks, it says, these are the 4 things you need. Study it, know it, and then do it. And so my expectation was that if I could know what a colon looked like, how it functioned, why it's there, and why the tumors show. If I could create a meaning, the meaning is that, look, I received the gift of my Father. Look at what these angels have given to me. This is what it means to feel this energy, this electricity in me. And I'd repeat it in 30 seconds. And I did that little 1 minute, 30-second meditation hundreds of times in the couple of months that I had. Did I know I was healed? No. When the date of my surgery came, sometime in the second week of June, I showed up. I took my appointment. They had pictures. They had doctor reports. They had an MRI. They had a biopsy. They never even talked to me. They gowned me, gasped me, and rolled me into surgery. The last thing I heard was that the post-surgery was going to be very painful because they were going to take out the lower few inches of my colon and give me a bag. That's what I was looking at. But up to the last moment, I played that little boy with sparklers. Whee! And I went down through my colon, and all those sparklers would burn the inside lining of my colon. I'd see all the bacilli waving to me as I went through it. They were pink and white, and it was just electrifying. And my stomach got warm every time I did it. I went into surgery, gassed me, gowned me, and rolled me away. I woke up coming out of surgery, and the first thing in my mind was, where's the pain? There was no pain. We sat in a post-surgery room, still in the gown, for over an hour when my wife got tired of waiting. She says, "Where's the surgeon?" She said, "Well, it's just the nurses are giving orders. Don't talk to them. Don't tell them anything. They can't talk. It's against they can get in trouble if they tell me anything." So my wife went to the nurses station and said, "Where's the surgeon? I need to talk." And so she finally found a surgeon and she says, "What happened?" Well, he just, no one's talking to him. He says, "Well, there was nothing there." My wife says, "What do you mean there's nothing there? We have biopsy. We have pictures of tumors in his colon." She says, "Look, I'm the head of the internal surgery here. I know what I'm talking about. I put my tools as far through as I could get all the way to the top." And she talked about that little curve thing. And there was not as much as a polyp. I'm 70 years old. I've, I've never had a colonoscopy or anything like that. And the doctor told my wife, "He's got a colon as clean as a young man. Tell him to get dressed and go home. There's nothing there." She told me that, and I had a rejoicing in me, not for the one you're thinking of. The doctor says nothing was there. What is the nothing except the divine? As far as I was hearing, I was being told the divine was there. The nothing was there. That was my placebo, my first big placebo. I got the documents, I got the surgery, I got a surgery report. There was nothing there. That's after the colonoscopy said it was colon. That's after the biopsy said it was cancer. That is after the MRI said it was cancer. And yet, when it come time to cut me, there was nothing there to cut, not even a polyp. At 70 years old.
Did you have any moments of doubt or fear?
All the time. In between each meditation, I would cry. "Ah," and then I go, "Okay, that ain't going to get it." And I'd do it again. Yeah, this is real. I mean, you're going to have doubts. Absolutely
Did
had
you ever
doubts.
fall back into um, I have this and it's
About every other day. I'm telling you, this is real stuff. Don't expect that you have to be some holy guy sitting on a pillow. Do I act like that? If I do, I apologize because I am not like that.
no,
I
I don't mean that, but I'm just trying to relate it to I see things and I practice things in my meditation, but then when reality comes along, I'm so shaky that sometimes I'm able to uh, do what I practice or be the person that I practice. And sometimes I have a hard time.
let me tell you how recent this is for me. It was just last month. I went in because they discovered I had a tumor in my bladder. I was there when they ran that camera through my ureter, through my prostate, into my bladder, and shined it around. And I got to see this beautiful dome inside my bladder. It's just gorgeous. And then they turned the camera on the tumor. Rah! This ugly wart-looking thing inside my tumor, inside my bladder. Oh, shit, broke my heart. Here I am. I'm supposed to be the teacher of healing, and I'm still making ugly cancer. Yeah, I got low. I got so low. I was all but stiff upper lip, and I was crying inside again. I couldn't look up to see stars for nothing. All I could see is that I had failed my students. What a hypocrite I am if I can't do this. And I obviously can't because I had a warning it was there because a month or two before I had a CT scan, they spotted the shadow in my bladder. And I've been meditating and trying to do something. And here they biopsy it, and it's clearly bladder cancer, and I just can't do it. I'm so low. What a hypocrite of me to teach healing when I'm making cancer like that and can't heal it. What did I do? I started calling friends. I started hunting people who love me. I couldn't look up. I was too ashamed. What a hypocrite I am. Here, do this, you'll heal. Well, it was just, I got a community around me that just loved me. It was almost embarrassing. I'd start telling people, and they would scold me for not telling them sooner. And we would just have a love fest, and I'd be embarrassed for their loving on me. And that happened again and again and again. And then I found it. In one of those conversations, I could see up again. Before, all I could see is my feet and the hole I was in. And then all of a sudden, I could see up again. And as soon as I could see up, I knew what to do. I mean, I teach this, I knew what to do. But when you're stuck, you're stuck. Never tell a drowning person to swim. He wouldn't be drowning if he could swim. But I had some people love me and got my spirits up so that my eyes went up and I remembered the lesson. And I not only remembered I could do it. About a month or two before that biopsy, I had scheduled a PET scan. You know, it takes a while for them. PET scan is the most detailed, it's a PET scan with contrast. They make you fast and they give you contrast and they see every hot spot of cancer in your body. Well, it just happened to be scheduled 1 week after the biopsy. I didn't even know about the biopsy when I got the PET scan scheduled. It just worked that way. There is 1 week difference between the biopsy that scooped out a hunk of cancer and the PET scan. 1 week. You want to know how abrupt this works? 1 week. And the PET scan says there is not a hot spot of cancer in this body. 1 week. What did I do for that placebo? Once I got my eyes up, and I quit crying because I was such a loser teacher that I was doing just, and I got my eyes up. I remembered the lesson. I remembered the love. I remembered my teachers, my angelic energy teachers. And I remembered my expectation. I knew what this bladder is supposed to look like. I had a camera in there. I don't have to guess what it looks like. I saw it. And in that camera shot, everything was beautiful except this one spot. So I made the whole dome of that bladder beautiful. And when I'd get a glimpse of the cancer, I'd just go, oh, that's just trash, and I'd throw it away. And I did again. How long does it take me to do that? Draw energy up, and I'd see this dome. And I love it. Just isn't that the coolest thing to be able to experience your organ from the inside? Oh, there's trash. Throw you away. And then the whole dome would be crystal clear. Repetition, every chance my mind allowed me to go there. And in 1 week, virtually, literally 7 days later, I went in for the PET scan. And in 2 weeks, I got the report back. And I'm sitting in the front of my oncology, sitting at my oncology doctor. The guy, he had it in front of him, expecting to tell me about my cancer and how it's gone into different parts of me and how this cancer had rooted past the surface of my bladder. And he sat there, looked at it, and says, "It says here there's nothing there. It says here that there is no points of attention anywhere in your body." 1 week. from having bladder cancer to not. 1 week. Other than the days when the news of my perceived failure wiped me out, and all I could do is go around and tell myself what a poor teacher I was. 1 week, and I'm out of bladder cancer. Certified, documented by a PET scan with contrast. Not by the VA, but by the local PET scan clinic that does this stuff with the most advanced equipment for hospitals in this area.
So that means we can do it. We should be doing it even when we're not meditating. You mean like remembering it and
Yeah.
doing it and remembering it and doing it.
Think of what you do when you worry. Worry was an initial trauma. Something happened. And then you rehearse it, rehearse it, rehearse it, rehearse it. Do that, but for something that healing. It takes work to get it right the first couple times so that you can build into your mind and your consciousness your expectation. Why do you expect it? Why? Because I can seal it, feel it, know it. Talk about it. What does it mean? It means I am loved by the divine and I am being washed by energy. Look at what I see and I'm experiencing. Repeat it, and love it to the point where you're a child celebrating it. That's the placebo effect. What goes before that? Breaking the habit of being yourself. Break the habit of thinking you're this physical being. Break the habit of thinking you are not worthy to stand before the Father and receive his gifts. Break those habits. They're lies. They're not false teachings. They're blatant lies, meaning they're lied to you for their control. You already are the point of expression of the divine light. You already are. You are not this role play you're in your life. Like it says, what are you practicing being today? Try practicing being an energy being for a while, every day. Okay, it takes a while to tune into it and find it. So what? Practice it until you go, one day you go, oh, I felt it. I felt what it meant to say, I am an energy being. And then feel what it means to say, I am worthy to receive of the divine light. Oh my goodness, just saying this to you folks just gets me just, oh.
How do we practice being an energy being? Can you expand on that a little?
I'm hoping you'd ask. 2019, 2020, I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And the VA instantly gave me 100% disability because nobody self-heals from it. And it ultimately kills you because it muddies up your blood until symptoms get too bad. You think I'm kidding? Look it up and go get online, ask some AI. How many people self-heal from lymphocytic leukemia? If you say cancer, lots and lots of people heal from cancer, different tumors. The body is trying very hard to heal itself from tumor-based cancers. Nobody self-heals. And 20, I was fully diagnosed. It was proved by multiple different blood tests. When they started discovering I gave blood tests, four different times it was sent to 4 different clinics because the VA knew what it meant. That it means that my exposure to chemicals when I was in the Army gave me a killer sickness in my old age. And they gave me 100% disability for it. And that was in 20. In 21, the numbers went up again. In 22, the numbers went up again. 23, the numbers went up again. And I am giving it every meditation I could throw at it. I couldn't find what my lesson was. Why? Because if it's a tumor, I can point to it right there. Lymphocytic leukemia is a systemic disease. There are things like that that are problems for the body that are systemic. You can't point it's here because it's all over the body. In 2024, in the July of 2024, I had a blood panel that says I am fully phase 1 and I'm being warned. My blood, the lymphocytes in my blood are getting so crowded, they are giving me warnings of blood clots and things like that. So that's 5 years of rising numbers, and I haven't touched it. And I'm like screaming in my mind, I don't know how to do this. Because it's different. It's a different thing. At least in my mind it was. And then my teacher showed up. I love my teacher. He is not a gentle man. He is not a gentle energy. He's kind of like me. That's why I said he's probably me and my future self. He says, so what did you learn? I don't know. He says, no, I didn't ask you what you didn't know. He said, what did you learn? What do you mean? He says, Ray, you still think you're a body, don't you? No. Then what did you learn? Well, I learned I'm an energy being. Did you? Did I what? Did you learn that? And he's just like, well, did I? And in this moment of this meditation, you know that no body, no place, no time type thing? I get those now and then. That's what one of these. I sat there and says, okay, I'm an energy being. What does that mean? Remember, in expectations, you need education and meaning. What does it mean to be an energy being? And I started, and teachings just started flowing through me. What am I? What am I? And I went, am I? I am. And oh man, teaching started blowing up in me. And then I said it for the first time. I am. I am an energy being. I am an electric energy being. I am a luminous electric energy being. You with me? I am an eternal, luminous, electrical energy being. I am a divinely created, luminous, electrical energy being. I am child of the Father, inherit to the kingdom, receiver of the infinite potential. I am an eternal energy being. And I would say that, and my little hairs in my body would go, I'd get so electrified. I get goosebumps running through me right now. I've rehearsed this so many times. It's too familiar. But when I first did this for the first months, I would just sit there and just, oh, ha, I did. Did it do anything? I was getting blood panels twice a year, January and July. So from July, which was telling me my lymphocyte count had gotten up to beginning to be dangerous, to January, 6 months later, my lymphocyte count went down, all the way down to high normal. I ended the chronic lymphocytic leukemia in my body in those 6 months. And the VA looked at my blood panel and said, oh, you better, and took away all my military benefits for it. It went from 100% disability to zero because they recognized I didn't have chronic lymphocytic leukemia anymore. That's what I actually did. And during that year, I put my blood panels up on my WhatsApp just to show you this is July and this is January. Really did. I got it doesn't lymphocytically. I heal leukemia in my body. See if you can find somebody else who can say that. I didn't use some fancy ayahuasca or magic mushrooms or incense or crystals. I did what I just told you. I learned it from Dr. Joe. What am I is more important than who you think you are. Because who you think you are doesn't matter until you know what you are. And you are an eternal energy being.
But do you just
Mm,
say that to yourself?
Did it feel like when you just heard me rehearse it that I was just saying it to myself?
No, I mean,
This
it's
is
different for
not
you, but for
it.
us, what do
No,
we do?
no. Let me make it. I posted something out on the WhatsApp some time ago. And the final statement, because I shared this and put it on paper and shared it, it says, "This is not an affirmation you speak out to the kingdom. The kingdom already knows who and what you are. This is a declaration you are saying to you, I am, because your body thinks it is. You, the consciousness, declares into your, this is a declaration you say into your body, I am an energy being. Listen up, daddy's home. You are changing who you think you are. Who are you practicing to being today? I was practicing being an eternal energy being. I practice it, practice it, practice it. And in 6 months, I ended lymphocytic leukemia in my body. By the way, a little bit, my lymphocyte count is just above normal. So saying I ended it is not 100% correct because the warning flag is there. It's like, you misbehave, Ray. It's sitting here. Why? I did get exposed to those toxins, but that doesn't mean I have to have the response. I just know how to tell it to stop it. This is what I'm trying to get you to realize. Dr. Joe taught 3 books, Breaking the Habit. That changes who you say you are. 2, you are a placebo. Not maybe, not you already are, and you are creating your life. You can change that. The 3rd book teaches the present moment. It teaches the pineal gland. It teaches how to be supernatural. Out of the 1/3 or more of his teaching is to try to get you to understand you already are the placebo and you are already doing this to you, but not in a healthy way. 1/3 of his work is trying to get you to realize this. I go to different Dr. Joe conferences and groups and things. Nobody talks about the placebo but me. And I'm thinking, what's wrong here? This is more than 30% of what he teaches. And nobody talks about it. They like to talk about ayahuasca. They like to talk about magic mushrooms. They like to talk about energy works and conferences and really cool things that people say. This is something you can learn. This is something you can do. Why? Because this is something you already are. Sunita, I see your hand up. Thank you.
So I want to learn how to do this. And if I want to do this, then what you're saying is every day I need to do it as a declaration, not as an affirmation, as a
Yes.
declaration until I
Yes.
believe it.
Yes. I will post my statement again in the WhatsApp so
Thank
that you
you.
can, and so that you'll have a document and so that you can read it and use it a leading. Because this is what I do. This, I'd be dead. This isn't an inconvenience for me. Yeah. I'll post that I am statement. Get this, there's four elements to the placebo. Expectations. What does it take to build an expectation? It takes knowledge and experience. How did Pavlov's dogs respond? That bell rang and rang and rang. They had knowledge of the bell and they had the experience of the bell, and they did it until they reviewed it and they felt it, and the bell had a meaning and said food was coming. It was the bell had repetition, so they got the body itself started a pattern of expectation. Those are the three main things. But if you want the lights to come on, you find a meaning that is not body, place, or time, but heart. My meaning was that the angels were washing me. Look at this. Look at this. This is just who, me? Yeah. Why me? Ray, why you? You tell us. Ah, because I am a son of the divine and heir to the infinite potential. They go, that's why. And you are loved by you are known by your name and loved by the kingdom. That's why. We're just waiting for you to find out for yourself. This is the answer to why you need to know quantum mind. Because the quantum mind tells you this isn't woo-woo. The quantum mind tells you this is hard science. This is a human thing. So I didn't do this once. I've gotten pretty good at it. Does that mean I go around arrogant? No. Remember what happened before the bladder thing? I was so defeated. Oh man, I thought I was so poo-pawing. I was embarrassing myself. And I had to hunt people out to tell me how much they loved me. I didn't tell them that's what I said. I just tell them my woes, and they just poured love into me. I was embarrassed about my poupon. You know what I mean? Where you get down and yourself, the world's against me. Everybody hates me. Nobody loves me. I'm going to eat a worm. You know, that kind of thing. Then I just started talking to people, and they just started telling me how much they love me, and my eyes went up. And it's like the chains of my mind were broke, and I knew what to do. I just couldn't get free on my own. I needed friends to help me get free. In one sense, it's kind of embarrassing to me that how come I couldn't, because I'm just a human, I'm just a guy, I'm not some guy who walks on water. I just, every now and then, I need somebody to help hold my hands up. And so they did. And I knew what to do. And 1 week later, I had a PET scan, and there's no markings of cancer anywhere in my body. It was a complete head to toe PET scan. Pretty wild story, but that's my story. I got documentation to talk about it. It's there 1 week and it's gone the next. I know what Dr. Joe says, and I simply take it seriously now. Okay, back to the story. I'm going to keep that in the file so that you guys can see it and listen to it again. What does it mean? It means so much to me until I get tears when I rehearse it. Can you imagine this old guy and angels come before me and tell me they love me, and they wash me with electricity, and the oceans of divine love wash me? Oh my goodness. Who am I? I'll tell you who I am. I'm the son of the divine and heir to the kingdom and heir to the infinite potential. That's who I am. and I've got the evidence to talk about it. So when I'm on page 188, so when you change your energy to alter a belief, what is a belief? We talked about that last week. A belief is a list of assumptions, list of things that you learned and you stirred around your head. There's nothing sacred about a belief. It's just information that you processed again, until you got programmed in it. So when you change your energy, how do you change your energy? New information, and you drive that information into you, and your body does something different. That changes your energy. So when you change your energy to alter a belief perception about yourself or your life, you're actually increasing the frequency of the atoms and molecules of your physical body so that you're amplifying your energy field. When you get that new information that you really are a divine energy being, and you get that in you, your energy moves up and you tune into how much that field of love that you swim in every moment of your moments. You just go, look at this. And then you start, well, let's practice this. And when you meet people, just give them a little friendly smile. Don't get goofy. You know, being an old guy, I got to be careful. You go grocery store and smile at people. Ah, that old guy's after me. Ah. So I'm just pleasant. But all I'm doing is I'm practicing just open-hearted love, kindness. As you embrace a heightened emotional creative state like inspiration, empowerment, a stronger energy field around your body, which affects your physical matter. As you practice loving, your body practices healing. So the physical particles that make up your body are now responding to an elevated energy. You're becoming more energy, less matter. That statement used to throw me. You're becoming less matter, more energy. I'm not changing. I'm the same thing. What does that mean? What I have tuned to is becoming more energy, less matter. If I think I'm matter, I am more matter. If I think I'm energy, I'm becoming more energy. What is the perception of me? The perception of me now is I am an energy being. And I've done a few things to prove it to me. Using your consciousness, you're creating more energy so that matter can be lifted to a new frequency and your body responds to a new mind. Cool as anything. Okay, this next paragraph I think is the key to the whole chapter. Let me make sure. I got notes in it. Yeah. So most of this page I'm going to read, but we're going to talk about it. I'm on page 190, and this is the summation of this chapter. So how does matter become lifted to a new mind? That's the heart of my story of how I self-healed. How does the matter ray, the material ray, become a new mind ray? Think of the preacher who moved into a state of religious ecstasy and drinks strychnine and doesn't get sick. How did he overcome that chemistry? That's hard chemistry. How did he do that? He made a decision with such firm intention that his choice carried an amplitude of energy that transcended the laws of the environment, the effects of the body, and linear time. This is not mysticism. From the time of the Gospels, when Paul was bit by that snake and he flung it off, to current evangelical preachers dancing with snakes and getting bit by poisonous snakes and shaking it off, to other phenomena where people take strychnine and poison passes off. This is a human ability that has been educated out of us. And when we are demonstrating an elevated level of awareness and energy, It's these elements that influence matter because matter is created from lowering of frequency and information. Get that last statement. Matter is created from a lowering of frequency and information. You have a very material life. There it is. It's entirely possible that the preacher's cell receptor sites weren't selectively open for the strychnine. He got ecstatic and his body knew the poison and he said, well, we just won't respond to it. And it just burned through his body and went out. They weren't receptive. They weren't open for the strychnine. The cell's doors were closed to poison, and so were suspended from its effects. By being moved by the spirit, that is moved by energy, he instantly upregulated the cells in his body for immunity and downregulated the cells that allowed the poison. That's how it works. You get your energy up. How ecstatic can you get in a meditation where you just love the love of the universe? I don't mean fake it, emotional, and get all, no. I mean, honest to God, just ecstatic in the love. Some of you can remember your teenage loves where you would just get, oh, it just hurt. You love that other person so much. It's a little bit like that. That's what we're after. The universe and all the biological systems within it share an integration of independent entangled energy fields that in turn share information beyond space and time on a moment-by-moment basis. Now, this was really strange to me to think about the implications of this. Everything in the universe is entangled in the energy. You are not alone. Not down to the very cells of your body, you're not alone. You are an entangled energy being. You are a point of energy entanglement. A point, not a whole field, a point. So according to the quantum model of reality, we could say that all disease is a lowering of frequency. Think of that. All disease is a lowering of frequency. When you get that first part right, where you get yourself ecstatic in love, not fake. Don't say I told you get all ecstatic and get goofy and no. When you tune into that field, you don't have to fake it because it is overwhelming to you. How do you get there? No body, no place, no time. How do you get there? Feel the space. Sense the space. That's how you get there, by practicing taking off this physical reality. Practice finding that place back here in your mind where you're not analyzing reality, but you're perceiving it. You are the observer of it. You ever notice that when you're just observing, you're not analyzing, you're recording it? Be an attentive observer. No analyzing, just observe. It's really challenging for me. If you keep the stress response turned on for a period of time, the long-term effects keep slowing down the frequency in your body and making you sick. Stress slows down the frequencies. Slow down frequencies, make you more matter. Making you more matter, make you sick. What's the opposite? Learn to go into meditation and love with your whole heart. You're just sitting in the chair by yourself. You're not nothing, no one can see anything but maybe tears as you sit there. As you just let yourself love and let yourself let go. and that nobody, no place, no time, place. When you change your energy because you made a decision with a firm intention, you increase the frequency of your atomic structure and create a more intentional, coherent electromagnetic signature. Think of that. This is a science statement talking about what happens when you meditate. When you change your energy because you made a decision with firm intention, that's tuning in. Remember that expectation, the first element of the placebo. With a firm intention, you increase frequency. Remember, frequency, increased frequency is health, lower frequency is sickness. You increase frequency of your atomic structure and create more intentional. You increase frequency of your all the way to the atoms in your body. Forget this is beyond your DNA epigenetics. We're talking about energizing the atoms of your body. I tell you, I get electrified when I do that I am statement. I am electrifying my body. I am energizing it to the point where I feel like I'm in a you ever go into one of those static generator things, it might be in a fair or something, and you get near it and your hair kind of goes like this. That's what it feels like when I do that meditation. I am electrifying my body doing that because it loves remembering what I really am. This person you see here is an expression of it. What I am is an electric energy being, and it loves me knowing it. Or to put it another way, all of your matter has more energy or more information. Think of coherence as rhythm or orderliness, and incoherence as the lack of rhythm, coherence, the lack of synchronicity. The more organized and coherent your energy, the more you entrain matter at an organized frequency, and the faster that frequency, the better and more profound the electromagnetic signal the cells receive. Are we talking about a science experiment or meditation here? Yes. Remember, as you learned in the previous chapters, cells are 100 times more sensitive to electromagnetic signals, energy, than to chemical signals. And it's these signals that change the DNA expression. Why does it work? Well, because you're mostly energy to begin with. Your body looks like matter, feels like matter, because we're all common in a certain bandwidth of energy. But quantum says everything is energy. So once you get this form of energy tuned into that form of energy, things change. It's science. It's human. Then you and I, along with all things in the universe, are connected by this field of intelligence, personal and universal, both within us and all around us, that gives life, information, energy, and consciousness to all things. And it knows you and it loves you. And when you can find it in your meditation of no body, no place, no time, and you can find it in this meditation that says, feel the space. And you can find it there. Yeah. It causes supernovas to be born in distant galaxies. It rose to bloom, it, and roses to bloom in Versailles. It keeps the planets revolving around our sun and the tides rising and falling in Malibu. Because it exists in all places at all times, and it's both within you and all around you, this intelligence must be both personal and universal. Okay, before I do the last page, any comments on this last part? What you are matters to you. I didn't know that till I did Dr. Joe's work. I've studied a number of other esoteric schools, and they give all this mystery work and the fool's journey and God is over there and all this kind of stuff. None of that healed me. I started doing Dr. Joe's work, and my life got funny. Do I stay there? Of course not. I told you I'm honest. I have days and I feel like I'm walking in mud. But that's just this body's chemistry. When I get my eyes up and I get to work with what I know, ah, funny things happen around me. No comments? Okay, I'll keep going for this last page. Last page, 198. If you were to close your eyes and take your attention off your body and all of the people, things, and events arising in different times and places in your external environment, letting go of time for a moment, you, as the quantum observer, would be removing your energy from your familiar life and investing your awareness into the unknown field of possibility. There's the equation right there. Remove your mind from your physical reality. What is a physical reality? Everything that you perceive with your senses. Your education is part of your physical reality. So if you sit there and think just because you're running a script in your head, well, no, that's part of your sense perception of this world. All of that you let go of. But if you were to invest your energy in the unknown field of possibilities beyond space and time, and you instead became a consciousness, a thought of quantum potential, you'd be drawing a new experience to yourself. You would draw something new to you. Because the old you got you where you are. That new you would get you something different. The self-organizing automatic nervous system is your connection to that innate intelligence I mentioned that performs all of those automatic functions for you. This loving intelligence is what you merge with in meditation when you lay down the ego and go from selfish to selfless, when you become pure consciousness, no longer a body in the environment or in linear time, but instead no body, no one, no thing, in no place, and no time. That's when you become simply an awareness in an infinite field of possibility. That's when you become simply an observer, drawing your future to you. That is the story of the quantum mind. That is the story of the science of you are the placebo. And those were my stories of how I actually applied them. Wow. Heather, thank you for raising your hand.
Hi, yeah, this was such a huge chapter. It was just like really mind-blowing. But yeah, like just I love this material so much. But I have a question about like so really what the chapter is really kind of trying to, I think, like really drive home is like when we are in a state of coherence, right? um, then our body can start, it switches into this healing process, I guess. So I went to go and do something. It was called neurofeedback training, right? So I went to this, like it was like a therapist, and then they hook up the electrodes on your head and they're watching. And yeah, he gave me like these breathing exercises to do, and he showed me on the screen how I came into coherence because I was doing these breathing exercises. So that was one thing. But I'm like with the Dr. Joe meditations, like I'm like when people are at these conferences, and it sounds like the same thing too. Sometimes he has people hooked up to these, um, like I think you had said last time, EEG machines or something where, yeah. So like from what I've heard people talking about at these Dr. Joe conferences, like he will have people hooked up to those machines, right, where he can see like the brain waves and coherence, right?
Yes,
So yeah, so like the Dr. Joe meditations like will bring you into a state of coherence.
yes,
That's been proven.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you're doing them properly, I guess, right? Because like even when I was going for this neurofeedback, like if I like once you because it's like again, it's like the brain waves, right? Like you have to we had talked about it in an earlier chapter, right? You got to drop down into like what is it, like theta or something or delta. You, like once you drop down in certain brain waves, then that's when you come into coherence, right? I
Right,
believe.
you want to get into that flow state.
Okay.
That's
Uh-huh. Okay, so yeah, so this chapter, like once you can get yourself into coherence, then you can accomplish a lot of what this chapter was talking about here.
yes.
Yeah.
That's why we practice this meditation again and again and again, because it says feel the space, you know, sense the space, just all this stuff. And to do that, to be part of that space, you have to let go of this analytical mind,
Mm-hmm.
because this analytical mind moves your brain forward. Going, trying to sense the space moves you back here in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then as well too, like you were saying, throughout the day, just try to go back into that kind of little video reel, right? Like maybe you're not even in coherence or like you said, elevated emotions while you're letting that little video reel play through your mind, kind of just if not like a big long deep meditation, just stopping for a moment in your day and like letting that quick kind of visualization play through and then elevated while holding elevated emotions.
Yeah, touch the alpha brainwave for just a moment and rehearse that moment of love and experience. And your body chemistry responds instantly, almost.
Okay. Okay.
And then you tune back into your world and continue. And
Mhm.
you got a couple minutes sit there. I draw that energy up and I let that image just go through me. And then I let it go and I go on to my day. And I do that throughout the day.
Yeah. So in that little rehearsal, like that little moment throughout your day, do you think you're like with the elevated emotions, you're almost kind of quickly coming into coherence briefly?
I don't think of it that way, but yes,
Hmm.
because I tune out of my whatever it is about me in that moment. I tune out of it. And I let myself fall into alpha and I go right into this story and I allow the story to be full in me.
Mm,
So it's not that I'm pushing everything away. I just turned it off. It's just not there. I'm in the story for a moment. And
mm.
that story is all that my body knows. And I just rehearse that love moment for just a minute. And my body responds. And then I go back to my day and I do that throughout the day. Think about what a placebo pill is. It's a moment of meaning. And I take it again. It's a moment of meaning. I take it again. Moment. It's
Mm,
the same thing again. Think about what worry is. Worry is the negative aspect of this. Oh yeah, I'm just going to have. And you've seen people who seem to draw problems to them.
mm, mhm,
I'm one of those people who draw funny things to me.
mm.
I do. I mean, I have my down days. I keep trying to be honest about it. On one sense, it sounds like I'm walking on clouds, but I have my problems, you know, but I draw funny things to me.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think even too, not being so worried about like, oh my God, am I in coherence or not? Because who knows, right? How do you
Who
know?
cares? When you're in it, you don't worry about the lesson of being in it. You're
Yeah,
just in it.
true. Right. Yeah. So just trying to do this mental rehearsal to the best you can. Like when even in the Dr. Job meditations, it's like my body gets so soft, right? Like the tension just like my shoulders fall and I just become so relaxed,
Yeah.
right?
That's alpha brainwaves. When you're in alpha, the all the alerts of stress just kind of shut down.
Mm. Oh,
And
okay, so
you
that's a good cue to kind of like if that's what right where you're like, oh, interesting, all the stress kind
yeah.
of fell out of my
Yeah, you,
body.
you you just let go of it.
Yeah,
You don't tell it to go away. You're busy doing something else, so it goes away.
right, right. Yeah. Okay, so that's a good way to kind of know, right? Where you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
I'm in that good state, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a state of receiving. An
Mm,
observer is a state of receiving, not work.
right.
You're
Okay.
observing. You're an observer. You're an attentive
Mm,
observer. Want
right.
to remember this beautiful moment. Who doesn't want to remember their first date with that romantic other? I mean, just your mind is just racing ahead of time to that first kiss. I mean, you're just ecstatic. I could still talk about my first kiss. I was in the ninth grade. That girl made my toes curl. Woo! I guess I shouldn't talk about that here, but it's like that.
But yeah, lots built into that too, right? Like anticipation, expect like right, like lots of um yeah, anticipatory kind of okay. Yeah, no, that helps a lot. Like so yeah, part of even that part of that day that when we're doing this throughout the day to kind of have it where yeah, like you feel the stress, the tension kind of fall away from your body. Um
But first, you learn it. You build in the skill.
mm,
I didn't start there. I had those meditations where I had to learn the colon. I had to see it. I had to
mm,
practice it. And then I found
get
myself
the picture.
knowing it. I
Mm-hmm.
knew it, and I draw it into me and think it was a hoot. What a silly thing for an old man to create. What a silly story. And yet, when I did it, I knew it was right. I could feel it was right. And I can remember telling me, okay, I ain't gonna tell anybody about this. This is just too good. Who's gonna believe this one? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it fits the equation for placebo to the
Mm,
T.
mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so my body responded.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. That helps.
Thank you. Have a good conversation. Marilyn, thank you for being patient.
Yeah, hi. When we're in the meditation and he says to think about the thing that you want to change about yourself. I I want to change that I think I'm not enough always, not good enough. How would I make how would I like
I walked that one.
visualize
I walked
visualize
that
that
one.
or wait, how would I visualize that or like get
First of all,
what?
when I say forgive, who you forgive is yourself. I never tell you to go and forgive somebody else. You forgive yourself so that you can be free. Who
I'm
do I
talking
tell you to love? I never tell you to go love somebody else. I tell you to love yourself first, most, and always until you're a fountain overflowing and filling and watering everything around you. Who do I say you are? I say you already are a point of expression of the divine and inherit to the kingdom. You already are all these things. You have been taught that you're not. That is not easy to change in your mind. Remember, we talked about attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions. You have the beliefs because you were taught that. You didn't choose to teach that. You didn't choose to learn that. You were taught that as an impressionable youth or child, and you're still living in that falsehood.
Yeah, like I'm not heard, I'm not seen, what I say doesn't matter.
Exactly. And
Well, how do I
I'm
make
telling
that,
you,
how do I
first of
make that
all,
into the meditation or bring in the
yeah,
energy?
start telling yourself what I am. Make a list of things you are. You already, not what you're going to be. I mean, right now, if you don't change a thing for the next 50 years, you already are a child of the divine. I've seen it, I've known it, I experienced it. You already have angels walking with you, listening to every thought in your head, hoping that you already are an inheritor of the kingdom. You already are. Start telling yourself that. Start telling yourself how much you love yourself
You mean in a meditation?
in your meditation, in your day, just, oh man, just, I forgot. So what did you forget? This is Marilyn talking to Marilyn. Marilyn, what did you forget? Marilyn, I forgot to tell me I love me this morning. Wait until you learn to love yourself, and your world will change around you. You will wake up with smiles. I don't care what your world is like now. When you learn to love yourself, your world will change around you.
Yeah, because like I don't even want to get out of bed in the morning. I just want to
Yes.
stay in bed
Do
and not, I'm not in,
you
yeah,
know what the symptom of depression is?
what?
They do depressing things and they don't care about themselves. Their circle of self is so small it doesn't even cover themselves. As you learn to get bigger, the depression diminishes. And as you learn to get bigger and you include something else in your life, even a hobby, your depression diminishes. As you learn to get bigger, and there's people involved in your circle of life now you're up. As you learn to get bigger and you have a community about you that you care about, you're not depressed anymore because you're too busy channeling that love through you to others.
Hmm.
But it starts with you in your heart.
Right, but can I do that in the meditation?
Every day, every chance it crosses your mind.
Okay, but in the meditation, do I do the same thing? Like, do I visualize myself joyful and happy and doing things?
Blessing of the energy. Do you have blessing of the energy center meditations?
Wait, what?
Blessing of the energy center meditations.
Oh, you're telling me a different one to get?
It sounds like, did you go through You Are the Placebo, Breaking the Habit with me?
I didn't, no.
There's the answer. In Breaking the Habit, we
Hmm.
teach how to break this habit because this is just a habit of thinking.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have
The
the book, but
meditation we go through is the Blessing of the Energy Centers by Dr. Joe. And you
hmm.
start blessing these energy centers and releasing what's holding them. Release what's holding them. Release what's holding them. And as you release those things that you are holding on to, they're not aliens, they're you holding energies. As you release them, then you start feeling freer inside. They're called Blessing of the Energy Centers. I'd suggest you get the set of three, one, two, and three, because
Hmm.
they're a progressive lesson.
Hmm. Okay.
And that's what I did. And I did it for a year solid, and I broke my PTSD with it.
A year, huh?
Just took me 1 year. I had a lifetime of nightmares. Do you think I think 1 year is too much? I couldn't believe the first time my mind was quiet.
Was that listening to the meditation every day then?
That, oh, I listened to it multiple times a day. But it's not listening to it. It's learning what it's teaching. It's doing the meditation, practicing releasing energies, and practicing forgiving myself again and again, 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 again. Until one day I sat here and my mind was quiet. First time in my life since I was a child, my mind was quiet. Yeah, you think, ha! I was so bad with PTSD that I was certified by the military during my time I was getting treated for my first cancer. Yeah, I get a check in the mail for being PTSD. I didn't tell them I feel better. And there's no test for it. So they just assume that it's one of those things they give you, and that once you're certified, they give it to you for life.
Mm. Okay,
So
thanks.
that's what I did to break the habit of being myself, the crazy army guy.
Uh-huh.
I learned to forgive, I learned to release energy, and ultimately I learned to love myself. The
Mm.
story is much longer than that. That's a couple of hour long conversations, but that's where you start. And if you're still with me come next spring, then we'll go through breaking the habit of being yourself, and we'll go through that book in detail like this one.
How
And
many weeks
you,
is each book?
huh?
How many weeks is each book about?
Each book, I think one book's 12 chapters and the other book's 14, something like that.
So is it one chapter a week?
That's my plan. I
Uh-huh.
do Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself in spring. You Are the Placebo in summer. And in autumn, I do Becoming Supernatural. I take a couple months off, and then I do it again. This is my 6th year of doing this. I
Uh-huh.
pay hundreds of dollars a year to give you this information. I buy the airtime, I buy the program, the time for the meetup page, I buy the time for the Zoom call, I spend hundreds of dollars every year to give you this information.
Mm.
And this is my 6th year of giving it away.
Well, that's wonderful of you to do this. I'm
I
gonna,
knew I knew a guy who's lowering his lymphocytic leukemia doing what I taught you tonight.
he did what? He healed his leukemia.
He also has chronic lymphocytic leukemia, and he's had the numbers go up all his life. A little bit. I started talking about what he did, and he's telling me now that his numbers are going down for the first time in his life.
Oh.
They didn't drop as dramatic as mine did, but I'm kind of a passionate kind of guy. I get carried away, but it's working for him.
Hmm. So the placebo is almost over then, right?
Yeah, this was chapter 9, or no, this was chapter 8. We got 3 more chapters, and one of them, 9 and 10, I do together. So we got 3 more Sundays.
And then
Not,
you'll give us the date of the spring one.
yeah, that's all. I don't have it ahead of time, but that's all. I'll have it out there. Just stay a member of the WhatsApp page, show up and stay active, and you won't miss it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those very sensitive questions.
Quick question, Ray. I believe I think I saw it on the meetup page. Do you accept donations?
My Meetup page has a donation window in it.
Okay, yeah, I thought I saw that on there.
Yeah, I
I
just
get
gave
every
one.
now and then somebody will give me something and I'll get a little bit. I got a $10 donation last month.
Well, I did one for you the other day.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, I got it. I just want you to know that I do get those donations. It's just like if you do business with a store and you use a credit card. The bank provider, the financial provider takes a couple percentage points.
Oh yeah.
That's why they're in business to do that, so that they can handle a percentage point. And I get the rest.
Hmm.
I have a fun thing to talk about. Let me end the recording, and then I'll tell you my fun thing. Are we done with these sensitive conversations?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Stop recording.